Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome back to my channel. This is Bessie from Shelltastic Crafts. Basically today what I want to do with you is pour some ocean themed resin coasters and also a geode tray that can go with those coasters in ocean theme. So basically what I want to make sure I do is I want to clean out my mold of any dust, any particles that are in here, and once I'm satisfied that everything is out, I will begin. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to make a layer of sand on the bottom. I'm going to do like I'm going to use this ocean color by Octopus Inks for my lighter blue color for the water, and then this lagoon blue for the top, which will be like the sky part and the deeper water. And then I will be using the white, ocean white epoxy resin pigment paste for the white, which would be the waves. I've got my sand here, I've got my tools. This holds about 20 ounces full. This I'm not so sure, but right now what I want is one layer of crystal clear just to be poured on the bottom. And anybody who has tried to make these before or wants to make them, please always make sure that you have a clear coat on the bottom before you place any sand in there. Because one time I did do that, put the sand in first, and it didn't work out so well and it ruined my piece. And what happens is, unless the sand is saturated in the resin, it'll create holes and bubbles, and then you'll just have sand pouring out of the back. So not a good idea. Like I said, put a clear coat down. Actually, I mix my sand with a little bit of resin and then I pour it. So right now I'm going to go mix about I'm going to do about 24 ounces for now, and I'm going to use these aren't that deep. And again, these coasters, you can make the coasters as thick as you want them. These don't have to be filled to the top, although these coasters for me are not that wide, so I want to fill them to the top. So I want them at least like a quarter to a half full, and as well as the tray before I start. So actually I'm going to mix around 22 ounces of resin up to 24. I'm going to figure it out and then get to pouring. Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes. Hi guys, so I'm back again. I split my ounces into 5 different cups. Because my cups are a little small, I need some dark blue, some light blue, and I also need the sand. But if you notice in there, one of these I just had, there was some unmixed resin. So once I put it into the cup and I scraped the sides, there was unmixed resin. So I want to make sure that in every one of these cups that I run over it with my spatula again, and make sure that there's no unmixed resin. Now this resin is really thick to begin with, so it's very hard to have time to put it into the bubble remover. And basically we're pouring it so thin that we can get the surface bubbles out after we pour it. So basically what I want to do is I want to put some for my medium color. I want to make it too dark. And I want to put some of the darker blue. Again, don't want it too dark. That is a gorgeous color. Again, this is Ocean. Ocean is the lighter color by Octopus Fluid Inks. Mixing it up. Make sure there's no streaks. And basically that looks like the consistency and the color that I want. I'm trying over to the Lagoon, again by Octopus Inks. Mix that up. And I'm going to, that one I think I might need a little bit darker, but we'll see. I've got to really stir it in well. And yes, I'd like it a little bit darker. So you can kind of see the difference between the greenish blue and the blue. Oops. Okay. So basically those are ready. And I want to keep an ounce or so just for the white to make waves. And when you keep like an ounce like that, basically 1 drop of this is all you need. It is a pigment paste, not a powder. So basically I just go like that on my stick and I mix it in and make sure it is just white. And there you go, perfect. And by decanting it into different cups, you're actually making the resin cooler as well, so it doesn't heat up as fast. When it's in a larger cup, it heats up fast. Put that to the side. Basically, what I want to do with my clear now that I have here is pour sand into it. Pour it over the garbage, but I'm going to pour a decent amount into it. And I want to make sure that that is really, really coated well. So if you don't, you'll have patches of sand that do not have resin on it, and it will not do what you want it to do. More. That's more of the consistency that I want. It's like really, really, really thick. But it's all coated, and I'm doing it from the bottom all the way around, striking it off my stick, and now it should be ready to go. So basically what I'm going to do, get this out of the way, is pour the sand on the bottom half. All the way to the end. Half of here. Here. Basically, I made pretty much just enough. So I'm going to get that out of there. Here. And level it out. Notice this nice thick consistency. So it's pretty much going to stay put where I put it. What I can do is I can torch it. Get any bubbles you think might be in there. So it's more of a smooth surface. And you can level out. Just be careful. I don't use a big torch. I use a mini torch on purpose because you do not want to get it anywhere close to your mold. Some people use long neck lighters and some just spray alcohol. I happen to like a torch, but again, be careful because you don't want to set your mold on fire. Now next, I want to go in with my top color. Pour that in the top area. Whoops. Okay. Not too much. You don't want to have it meet with your sand, really. And if it does, it's okay because you're going to push it back with the other color. What is wrong with me that I am actually trying it on the edges? Anyway, a little bit more because this is a large tray. Go to the ends. And basically, if you want to then take your lighter color and you can go over that in the middle. Let it meet. Push back into the sand a little bit, move that sand down a little bit, which I kind of want to do. And see the difference. Notice pushing the sand down back a little bit. And this one too. And this one. Ran out of that color, so I'm going to some more. And that was the, whoops, ocean. Up. A little too light. Where is it? I'm just going to put another drop or two. 1, 2. Good enough. Okay, here we go. I'm going to pour this almost like over the sand because the reason why is I'm going to push back the sand a little bit. Okay. Get that color. Move it down a little bit. And then one here. basically I'm losing a lot of my blue, if you notice. So it's becoming that lagoon color. So basically what I could also do is start putting the blue up top, pushing that green back down a little bit, more, push that green down a bit. So you kind of have a difference in colors. It just doesn't look like that lagoon color. And a little bit extra of the lagoon. It's getting really thick. Basically what you could do is go like this, kind of merge these colors a little bit. So basically, oh, wonderful. My torch fell into my white. Wonderful. Garbage. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to pour it right over the sand line. Oops. Gosh, I hope I have enough. Perfect amount. So what you can do now to make your wave effect, sorry, I gotta change up my gloves, they're really, really slippery. What I'm doing now is taking out my heat gun. So, hopefully I didn't ruin my piece now. Hold on. But I have a fix for the waves if they're too thick to move now, because I took a few minutes. So, basically what I want to do is put on my heat gun and go close. You're heating up the resin at this point. Now that I wasted time, it might not work. If you notice, once it's heating up, you can move it out, and make it more of a wave effect. surface. This also helps in popping any bubbles that are on the surface in the area that you're heating. But I'm afraid with my little mishap, it ended up waiting too long. Just have to be patient and let the heat gun do its job in heating up the resin and moving it around. Not the best waves I've ever made, but certainly not the worst. Again, it's popping surface bubbles. So at the same time you're making your waves, it's definitely doing something for the bubbles. But I am going to go over it with the torch again. Again, not really the best waves, but there's something. Okay, put that away for now. And I want to see if I could salvage the fact that some of the blue is running down into the ocean on these. This came out much better, but I don't like this blue over here. So I wonder if I could just put some clear. Wow, it's getting really thick. Put some clear. It will level out, and it will push it back a little bit. So let's see if we can get it to move. See what I'm saying? It's clearer now. It's also moving my waves. So you can kind of fix that by just putting some clear resin in the bottom to move up that blue. So So this is why I also had extra, so I could make sure that I got the look that I wanted. That kind of looks cool. Actually, I kind of like that. Now, they're almost full to the top. Not the tray, but this coaster, they look kind of full to me. But what I can do is, in a little while, when they have cured a little more, I actually like that look. I'm actually liking it. So, what I first thought was a little bit of a fail, I'm actually liking. So, not too shabby on that one. Right now, I'm not even going to be able to salvage any of this because it's way too thick. But at least I poured more and not less. And you're lucky if I had maybe an ounce or an ounce and a half left over. Not even, I don't think. But I'm really kind of happy with the way they're looking. I could add some shells. But the thing is, if I add them now, they might float to the top. Should have done it before. But not too shabby. Wow. So, since I got rid of that torch, I'm going to get me another one. I see a lot of surface bubbles. That's the thing with the tabletop resin. You really don't have the time to be putting it through a vacuum chamber or a bubble remover. I see little dust particles that I'm going to get out. And just take my toothpick and get it out. So you want to make sure there's nothing in your piece that's going to ruin it. I don't know where all these things are coming in from. Now guys, just remember when you're doing resin, just make sure your workspace is actually ventilated properly. Open as many windows as you can, fans. You can also wear a respirator, a mask, and I have a very, very powerful air purifier that's made from resiners, and it's specifically made for the chemicals that are in resin, the TVOCs. And I use it and I love it, and every time I pour, I remember to turn it on, and then I'm good. Not too bad, guys. I don't know, I'm still deciding whether I want to add a few little tiny shells, starfish or whatever, but right now I'm going to, it's my alcohol, I'm going to spray them, because what I couldn't get with the torch will be gotten with the alcohol. Alright guys, I'm going to decide if I'm going to put some shells in there. Otherwise, for now, I'm going to wait. This definitely needs a few more ounces to fill it up, so I'm going to be putting a top coat. Top coat in all of these are very, very, very thin top coat because they are close to full. But this one is not. It's about halfway full. So, hi again guys, I'm back. I did decide to put some tiny shells in there because what's a beach scene without shells? So I managed to find a little tiny starfish. Now I did tell you guys that I am an avid sheller. Shelling is how I started with this. And basically I want to pick a flat one. But these shells I ordered. I did not pick these little starfish up on my own. But a lot of the shell crafts I make are definitely from my own stash of shells that I have picked up. Oops. So I'm doing it now, even though if you notice, it's getting really, really thick. And this is actually a decent time to do this because this way they will not float to the top. So I'm going to put one little starfish in each one of these. I'm trying to find ones that aren't broken. One. So, with that, and then what I do is I take these little shells. Again, not ones I picked up. I don't even know what these are. I have not even seen them on the beach walks that I take. And I will throw a few in there. And manipulate them and turn them over so that they're facing up. And this way you get the full effect of the beach scene. My tweezers are sticky, my hands are sticky, all part of the resin process. But I do love it. One more here. And I'm going to make sure that they kind of are facing up. And the resin is self-leveling, so basically even though I'm manipulating it in here, it should still be pliable enough to just go back to its shape. There. And plus, don't forget, I'm putting a top coat on this, so I would not be ruining the top if I didn't think it would work. Come on. Whoops. That'll give it a nice effect. Okey-dokey. So, that should be good enough. Actually, I'm missing one at the top there. Basically, these little shells I just bought on Amazon. They come in a little kit. I like them because they're tiny, and with the beach scenes, if you don't have a thick coaster, a lot of the shells that you'll try to use will not go under the resin because they're too thick. And believe me, a lot of the shells I bring back are really big. Oops, look at what happened to me, and I didn't even realize this. It went right there. So I'm going to put that right there. I'm just going to take that one out because it's now blue. So basically, like I said, I want it to be underneath the resin. Oops, oops, push it down. Wow, what happened here? Did I drop some and not realize it? Alright, so I'm going to do this too. It'll help it go back to its place. When I do cover it later with a top coat, those will all be underneath the resin. You see how this one fell in and it went deep? Push these down a little bit. some reason I'm finding a bit of little dust and particles in here. I'm not happy. What is going on? Particle, particle. I don't know if it's from the box. Like I said, these will get a top coat in a little bit. It's getting really, really thick. Like I said, I do like the way the waves came out, actually. I'm actually pretty happy with that. So, okay. So there it goes. And I put those in, I'm happy, and what we just have to do is wait for a little bit for it to get much thicker, where I can tap it on the back, and it will not be soft, so I could put a top coat on top of this. So we'll see in a little bit. Before I go, I wanted to add that this is one of the examples of what I've made with my shells, and these are shells that I brought back from Florida, and I buy the seahorse wood that you see, and then I just glue the shells onto the wood. And like I said, all of these shells are picked up from my beach walks. And I've also made this sea turtles, again with the wood that I bought off of Amazon, and I just placed the shells onto there in the shape. Now if this is something you like, you could visit my Etsy store at shelltasticcrafts and check out what I have on there. If you'd like to see me make this on camera so I could show you, I will be more than happy to. Just let me know in the comments. Alright, we'll see you for the top coat. Hey guys, so I'm back. I've just mixed up about, how much? 11 ounces of resin so I can coat these. They're dry enough now so that I can touch them and it won't leave an imprint. And basically I mixed up more tabletop resin. And I'm just going to pour it over and I'm going to let it cure. And I'll pop some of my bubbles before they go on. There are a lot of bubbles in here. There it goes. This tray was only half full, so the majority of my resin is going to go in here. Not really caring whether it's filled to the top or not. The tray doesn't have to be, but this, they just need just the tiniest bit to fill them up. Gosh, I hope I mixed up enough. I'm gonna get worried here. Please don't make me mix up another little bit of resin for this. Basically, I'm going to use this. This is stick. over to the sides and spread it out. Oh, this looks great. But these are going to need more. So as I feared, I did not mix up enough resin, so I'm going to be back with a few ounces. Actually, I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm going to just mix it off camera and put it in. And then I will see you guys for demold. See you later. Hey everybody, I'm back. Wanted to show you that these are ready to be demolded. I'm going to put on some gloves and we can get started. I ordered some glitter and it's come. I've actually ordered quite a bit more, but I haven't gotten it yet. Probably should be arriving today, but I got this beautiful glitter. Today I ordered from Amazon, Renfio Craft Glitter. Look at that beautiful shine. Gorgeous. I ordered red chunky glitter from Sia. Whoops. Hard to get these things open with gloves on. This is a big bottle, not too bad. How many ounces is that? Can't tell, but it is nice, gorgeous red. And it comes with nothing inside, okay? And then the other one I ordered is kind of a purple blue mix. Open that up and see what we get. Oh, some of it leaked. Wow, look at that. Black, purple. It's got all these holographic colors in it. It is absolutely beautiful. And that is a huge bottle. Wow. Excited to pour with those, see what happens. So anyway, I decided I do have these tray handles. They come with screws, and I'm going to put them on there. But the reason I didn't put them in while it was drying is because my experience on the last tray I had was that these don't stand up very well on their own. And I've ordered other ones that are kind of more straight and balanced. But for now, these are all I have, and I'm going to screw those in rather than get them in the resin and then have it just ruined because there's resin all over the handles. So I learned from my last time. So I'm going to put that aside and I'm going to put them on at another time. Wanted to show you that after I walked away from this, I did realize that I definitely over poured on these, but I want you to know that it is okay. I mean, you can over pour. I mean, you try not to. I try not to. But what happens is, basically when they come out, you're going to have this on the end. But when it's soft enough, usually you can just snap it right off. Or what I'll do is I'll take the cuticle nipper and then I'm going to just cut that off. And then I'll sand the edges and make it all smooth. But all is not lost if you over pour. It's okay. So that's one. I happen to think that came out really pretty. I do like the wave effect. Very happy with that. Next one. Again, over poured. I don't know why, but this seems like it's not as level as the rest of my table, and I'm not sure why. But again, I'm just going to take the Let's Resin sander that I have. I'm sorry, the Resiner sander that I bought, and I'm just going to sand the edges of that and make them smooth. The back looks cool. Wow. Okay. I love these molds that I got from Julie, again, from Pouring Your Heart Out. They're actually very, very thick, and just like the quality of the actual, um, silicone used. They're very strong and sturdy. Again, I could just cut that off, not a big deal. And like I said, I only did this to show you that even if you over pour, it's not all lost. Like I said, I usually just take a cuticle nipper, but don't wait too long because at this point it's at its softest. So what I do is I do it when it's at its softest so that I can get it off. Once it becomes really rock hard, then you will have to sand it all off, and that'll just be a little more difficult. Well, actually, a lot more difficult. But um, basically, it's still bendy. And if you bend it, it will work, and you can just snap that piece right off. Okay, so I will do that later. So basically, I can put that aside. Now for our tray. Wow, this came out gorgeous. Beautiful. Look at that. You have the starfish, and like I said, with the other layer, I ended up covering all the shells. I think the waves came out really cool. I like the effect, actually. I've seen other people make it where it goes higher and cells, and I just think my resin was a little too thick at that point, but I really love the way it came out. I have to say that's a really great one. All right, so I'm going to, obviously, this will be a beautiful set. Um, I'm going to do some trimming on these, and I'm going to finish them up, and then I'll display them later. Okay, so I will see you later. Thank you for watching. Hi, I'm very sorry, but I seem to have forgotten to put my mic on in this area, and I apologize for that. But basically what I'm showing you is that I cut off all the excess of when I over poured. I used sander, deburring tool, nail file, and they came out really beautiful. So they're nice and round and smooth, all of them. And I really do like the wave effect that came out. Now as for the tray, I drilled in the holes. I put in the handles, which I absolutely love. But in the future, I do have straight handles, and I'd rather put them in the epoxy resin when I'm actually pouring the second layer and have them dry within the resin. But they came out beautiful. Everything came out gorgeous. I thank you all for watching, and please like and subscribe and share if you think it's worth sharing. Hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye.